Okay, happy Friday. Glenn Stein here with Realty Executives in the Villages and in Ocala, Florida. It's May 14th. Hope you're doing well. Happy Friday again. And I'm not going to do the market update report today. Actually, I did that yesterday. So go ahead and look at that from yesterday. And I looked at it just a few minutes ago. It's very similar. I think we're about 30 to 34 homes that are more homes that have gone off the market pending versus what's active. So that has continued, obviously, not a big change in 24 hours. But one thing I would ask everybody to do, if you could please subscribe to this channel, that'd be great. Today, what I really want to talk about is I want to talk about three things to watch out for when you're buying a property in not only the Villages, not only in Ocala, but also in Florida. There's many things to look out for, but I want to get really specific within the sales contracts and some things that you need to ask your agent, ask your broker, ask your realtor about when you're putting together offers, or if you're selling your property. On the flip side, if you're getting an offer, watch out for these things in the contract. I think oftentimes I remember in working with buyers and sellers in the past, it's very easy for people to be relying on someone else's experience. And yes, everybody should be reading and understanding everything that they sign. Sometimes it would be recommended to get an attorney to actually review the documents, but we all know that oftentimes we sign things and we don't look at things the way we should. So I would invite everybody to actually look at these things, make sure that you're signing what you understand, right? Like understand everything you're initialing and signing. So three things, there's many things, but there's three things. And I'm actually looking at the as is contract here from the Florida Realtor and Florida Bar, what we call the FAR Bar contract, and what typically buyers would put an offer in on this particular form. Specifically, I'm looking at the as is contract. And obviously, there's just a FAR bar or non as is contract there. I'm going to go over the differences as the weeks go on. I think I've never seen anybody do this, and I'm not going to be super boring with it. I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting and not too dry. But I think there's some points that I think the public need to really look at. The first thing I want to say is that, first of all, there's a difference obviously between the as is and the non as is. And I think oftentimes sellers believe that the as is contract is going to be a better contract for them. And I want to tell you that that's not necessarily the case. The non as is contract is a little bit better. Why? Because in the as is contract, once the inspection period occurs, the buyers have the right to get out of the deal and get their escrow money back, or have legal rights to their escrow money for any little reason. Anything that they don't like in the inspection, they could just walk away and they would get their escrow money back in the as-is contract. In the non-as-is, there are seller liability areas, right? There is going to be certain amounts that the seller would be obligated to fix. But if they don't, then obviously the buyer can get out of the contract. And or if the if the seller decides that, okay, if it goes over the designated amount and it can be reduced, and that's a negotiable item, then they can decide, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. And the buyer can decide to leave at that point. But the seller has the option to keep the buyer engaged in the deal. Right. So that's the biggest difference. And oftentimes we recommend the non as is and maybe limiting the liability for the seller. So it's not a tremendous amount that the seller has to pay for. So some differences there and some things that you need to look at depending on what side of the transaction you're on, whether on the buyer side, the seller side, but be aware of the differences. Make sure that your real estate professional is explaining the difference and what are the consequences of each. Don't assume that, okay, if this doesn't happen, you're going to have legal rights to your money. That's usually where the biggest issues occur, right? So that's one thing to watch out for. The second thing is a lot of buyers will ask, or and even sellers will ask, how much should we get in escrow? How much should be in that second line in the? I'm looking at the purchase price being the first, and the second one is the where it says initial deposit to be held in escrow. not to be confused with down payment, two different things. And there is no set amount. It's all negotiable and what you're going to be comfortable with. And obviously from the seller side, you're looking for the most amount. From the buyer side, you're looking at the least amount, so you have less money in jeopardy. Seller wants to see a little bit more. A lot of times what we see is about maybe 3 to 5% of the asking price, on a $400,000 home. Maybe it's going to be somewhere between 10 to 15,000. That's going to be very typical, right? Very typical. But nothing's mandatory, right? Like it's a negotiable item, and connect with your real estate professional on that for sure. The last one, the third one I want to share with you, and I think it's really important that we look at making sure that when you're putting together an offer and when you're looking at offers, that you've got your ducks in a row. So make sure that you've got your proof of funds letter, your bank statements ready, and make sure that you've got your qualification letters ready. We're seeing a few deals where buyers are being a little bit obstinate about delivering that, or a little bit slow about delivering that. And in this very competitive seller's market, that can cause you to lose a deal for sure. And I want to share with you, so those are the 3 tips. I'll give you a bonus one. And the bonus one, I was actually looking at the contract again, and I wanted to bring this up. So we'll call this 4 or 3A in this particular video. And I want to bring to light where it says in the contract that you've got 3 days from the time of acceptance, or you can accompany the escrow money with the offer. So you can you can actually have the check ready. It can accompany the offer, or there can be a 3-day delay, or up to a 3-day delay once the contract is executed. So be mindful of those dates, because something we have seen recently is a few people have written some cash offers, and they're saying they're going to deposit escrow, and guess what? They don't deposit escrow, and they're walking away from the deal. And a lot of people will think, well, maybe the seller can pursue the buyer, but it's very difficult to pursue somebody that just disappears and there is no escrow money. So be mindful of those things and consider what's going to be better for you in your negotiations. If you have questions for me on this, 352-572-3796, 352-572-3796, or consult with an attorney, of course. You can visit us here, Buy, Sell the Villages, and just know that, if you need some help with a referral, if you need someone to help you with the buying or selling process, let me know. We can find someone who is fabulous at service, fabulous at understanding, and sympathetic to what you may be going through. So also, please, once again, subscribe to Realty Executives in the Villages, this particular channel. That'd be great. Happy Friday. Hope everybody has just a fabulous weekend. Take care.